Hey, one of the biggest challenges that English learners face is not knowing how to study English. Not having a proper routine that will take them from the intermediate level to the advanced level. Not knowing how to actually study English consistently and enjoy the process. Have you ever experienced this challenge? Are you experiencing this challenge right now? Well, my friend, I have good news for you. Because in today's lesson, I am going to give you a morning routine that you can follow, and it will help you speak English fluently as you follow the routine. Are you ready? Well then, I'm teacher Tiffany. Let's jump right in. Part number 1. The very first thing you need to do is write. A 5-minute writing session. Now let me explain what this writing session is all about. You see, the first part is to write in your journal for 5 minutes. You should write about something you plan to do today. That's right, today's schedule. This is an important step. Why? Because you are warming up your brain to start operating in English. In other words, you are activating the English side of your brain in a relaxed way. Think about it. When you wake up in the morning, the very first thoughts you have normally are in your mother tongue. Maybe it's Spanish or Portuguese or Zulu or another language. But now we have to switch this to English. And you do this by first starting with a 5-minute writing session. Notice that I said 5 minutes, not 20 minutes, not 30 minutes. No, a short period of time, only 5 minutes. And it must be about your day. What are you planning to do? Because you already have an idea. Maybe you're going to work, or maybe you have to go to school, or maybe you have to take care of your children. It's time to write about that in English. So for step 1, here is how you complete it. All right? This is the main thing you have to remember. First, get your notebook and pen ready. That's right. Have your notebook and pen ready. And honestly, I'd say to have your notebook and pen right next to your bed. Maybe you have a nightstand right next to your bed. Keep your journal, your English journal, and your pen right next to you. So as soon as you wake up, you can go right to that journal. Or maybe you have devotions in the morning, right? After you have your devotion, get your journal and have your pen ready. The next thing you want to do is to set a 5-minute timer. I use my cell phone as a timer, but you can use your cell phone, your watch, or any other device. But it's important to set a 5-minute timer. Why is this important? Because you're only going to write for this 5-minute period, not longer and not shorter. So you have to write as long as the timer is going. And once it stops, you stop. The third thing to remember is, third thing to remember is, hit start and don't stop writing until the timer goes off. I just explained that. You have to keep writing for that 5-minute period. Now, in the very beginning, this is going to be challenging. It's going to feel like a long period of time, but the more you do it, the more consistent you are, the easier it will become. Trust me. 5 minutes writing about your day, what you are going to do for that day, all right? Now, I want you to remember something very important. Don't worry about making mistakes. Don't stop and erase. Instead, just keep writing. Like the movie Finding Nemo, remember, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Let's switch it. Just keep writing, don't stop. Don't worry about mistakes. The main goal is to activate the English side of your brain. That's why we're starting with a writing exercise. It will force you to activate that side of your brain. So, activating the side of your brain that uses English is very important to start off this morning routine. All right? 5 minutes. Now let's move to part 2. You've written in your journal for 5 minutes, and now it's time to have an input session. Now, I love this, an input session. So let me explain what this is all about. You've done your 5-minute writing session. Now we have part 2, the 10-minute input session. So what you're going to do is find a YouTube video or other online video about a topic that you are interested in. Notice I didn't say an English lesson. I said a video about a topic you're interested in, making sure that they're speaking in English. You can find a video about cooking, a video about sports, a video about technology. It doesn't matter as long as they are speaking English, all right? As you watch the video, you are going to learn new words. You should write down, remember you have your journal, write down the things that you don't already know. As you're watching the video and enjoying it, if something pops up, maybe a new word or expression, write it down. This is an important step. Why? Because you are now inputting new information into your brain. Step 1, we activated your brain, right? The English side. Now step 2, we are putting new information into your brain. In other words, you are increasing the English you will be able to use in real life conversations. Listen, this morning routine is going to help you speak English fluently if you simply follow each step. So how do you do this exactly? Let's get the steps. Here we go. Step 1, for this part, find a YouTube video about a topic that you were interested in, right? We talked about that. Next, again, get your notebook and pen ready. You have it right next to your bed still because you just finished the 5-minute writing session. And as you watch the video, again, write down 5 to 10 new expressions, words, and or sentence patterns. That's right. In a 10-minute video where native English speakers are speaking about a topic that you're interested in, you are going to hear a lot of new word patterns. That's right. In a 10-minute video where native English speakers are speaking about a topic that you're interested in, you are going to hear a lot of new words, a lot of new expressions. So I want you to write down, don't look them up, just write down the words, expressions, or patterns that you hear as you watch the video. Write them down in your journal, all right? Now, I need you to remember this. Don't worry about looking up the definitions of the words or expressions. The main goal of this part right here, the 10-minute input session, is to listen well and recognize new terms. So we activated your English side of the brain. Now we are inputting and improving your listening skills for part 2 or step 2, all right? 10 minutes. So now we have 5 minutes and 10 minutes. Only 15 minutes so far. Let's jump into part number 3. Part number 3 is all about research. A 10-minute research session. Now, this is very important. Let me explain how this works. You're going to find the definitions for all the words and expressions. This is an important step. Why? Because it will help you understand why the words and expressions were used in the video you just watched. The video was about a topic that you're interested in, so you're already glued to it, right? Maybe you watch the video on your phone. You're laying in bed and you're watching the video. But now when you go in this part to look up the words and expressions, things start making sense. That's why they used that word. That's why they used that expression in the video. So in other words, you will have a better understanding of the words and expressions that native English speakers use in real life. This step is extremely important. Remember, this morning routine is going to change your English fluency. Activating the brain to help you understand things in English. Inputting things into your brain to help you understand in English. Now, helping you actually learn the meaning so you can use them in real life. So, here are the steps once again. Here we go. Get your notebook and pen ready. 2, search for the words and expressions online. 3, write the definition and one example sentence for each word and expression. This is very important. You've learned the definition of each word, but now you need to see how the words are used in a sentence. You've heard it while watching the video on YouTube or whatever platform you found the video on, and now you're seeing other ways to use the word or expression in a real life situation. All right? Very important. Now, I also want you to remember something as well. Don't worry about creating your own sentences yet. Once again, don't worry about creating your own sentences just yet. You're not going to do that yet. The main goal for you is to understand how the words and expressions are used in real life. We haven't gotten to the part where you will actually use them yet. You're just understanding how other native English speakers use the word or expression in real life. Makes sense, right? Yeah, you with me? Okay, so we have part one. Again, activated the English part of your brain, 5 minutes. Part two, we input information, watching the YouTube video, 10 minutes. Part three, now we've looked up things, we've researched, and now we're moving on to part number 4 of your morning routine. Part 4, the application session. That's right. Now it's time to apply what you've learned during this morning session. So here we go. First, you're gonna rewrite your journal entry using 3 to 5 of the words you just learned. Whoo, this is when it gets exciting. All right, this is an important step because it will help you create triggers in your brain. In other words, you will find it easier to use the new words in real conversations because you already applied them to your daily life. Woo! I love this step. Okay, now I'm gonna give you the clear steps again, but let me break this down. Think about what we've been doing so far for this morning routine. We activated the English side of your brain, where you wrote about your day. You already started to organize your thoughts about your day. Then we paused and we input new information. Enjoyed it, about whatever topic you chose. Then we looked up the information, we researched. Now it's time to connect the dots, to apply what you learned in part 2 and part 3. And connect the dots by having part 1 and part 4 be connected by using part 2 and 3. Follow me. Now you're going to rewrite what you wrote in part 1 in your journal. You're gonna rewrite it using the words you learned from part 2 and part 3. Here we go, watch this now. Again, here are the steps once again. First, get your notebook and your pen ready. Review your journal entry from step 1. In step 1, you wrote in your journal, right? Review it. Read what you wrote during that 5-minute period. Choose 3 to 5 words that relate to it. Now remember, the words are gonna come from the ones you wrote down in step 2 when you were watching the video, and then in step 3 when you wrote down the definitions, right, of the words and expressions. You are gonna choose 3 to 5 of those words that relate to what you wrote down in step 1. Makes sense, right? You're following? Woo, you are smart. Then, using the same context and topic, rewrite your entry using the new words. So let's say in step 1, you decided you wanted to write about a big meeting you have at work today, right? You wrote it out. I have a meeting at 10 a.m. with my boss and my coworkers. We're talking about a new project, and maybe you gave a few details. Then you watched a video that was talking about new technology. Maybe you watched a video about ChatGPT or AI and how AI is getting so popular. Then in step 3, you looked up the new words and expressions. You learned that innovative, the word innovative, something that's innovative. I'm gonna let you look that one up. Hey! Then you go to 4, and you're like, wait a minute. I can rewrite what I wrote in step 1 and say, we're having a meeting today about innovative technology because we want to use ChatGPT in our business. You're using what you learned in step 2 and 3. You're putting the pieces together. This is why this morning routine is so amazing. But I want you to remember something. Remember this. You don't have to write a longer entry. Step 4, part 4, again, 5-minute application session. It's only for 5 minutes as well. The main goal is for you to understand how to use new words to talk about your daily life. Listen closely. Your daily life. You want to speak English fluently. Part of speaking English fluently is knowing how to speak about your life using words and expressions that you hear or see people using on TV in a regular situation, in a normal situation. You hear them. This is what English fluency is all about. And this morning routine is going to take your English fluency to the next level. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope you follow this routine, and I'll talk to you in the next lesson.